Hello and welcome back to everybody on the Football Zone and to a weekend reviewing all of the big games from the Premier League this weekend. Starting off from an absolute thrashing at Villa Park, Aston Villa 3, Aston Villa 6, Brighton 1. And it's 3 goals in the first half, 2 from Watkins and a Stupinan own goal. Ansu Fati got a debut goal for Brighton before Watkins, Ramsey and Douglas Luiz 6-1. Brighton have shown a tendency to have some poor games this season, but none quite as bad as this. But a shocking result here. But for Brighton, big question to be asked, but Villa absolutely buzzing. Unai Emery, what a job he's doing. Wolves 2, Man City 1 was most definitely shock of the weekend, despite that. Ruben Dias own goal in the 13th minute made it 1-0 to Wolves before Alvarez scored in the 58th minute. And we thought, then Man City were going on and win it easy. But no, it wasn't the case. Hang Hee-Chang in the 66th minute gave Wolves the lead. And Man City threw everything at them, but in the end, I don't think they created any real major chances as well. That would be the funny thing and the impressive thing for Wolves. They held on, and what an incredible result that is. So impressive. But moving on into West Ham, they picked up a big win over Sheffield United, and a comfortable one at that, 2-0. 2 goals in the first half, one from Jared Bowen, one from Thomas Soucek, and it wasn't much of a game. West Ham better side, and I think Sheffield United are really struggling at the moment at the bottom of the table. And it kind of showed here. West Ham, though, they continue their pretty decent start to the season. I think they'll be very pleased with how the start's going. They're looking like a good little side. I think they'll be very pleased with that. But for Sheffield United, it is becoming a real struggle at the moment. Moving on into Newcastle 2, Burnley 0 at St James's Park. Almiron in the 14th minute and Isak with a penalty in the 76th minute, seeing a win for Newcastle. And Newcastle better side here, no question about it. And deserved it. Burnley, we kind of saw a better performance from them last week against Manchester United. It's a tough few games, but like I say, Vincent Company and Burnley really having a tough time at the moment. And I think a time will come soon where they will need to start picking up results, because at the moment it has been a tough start to the season. But moving on into Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1 at Old Trafford, and it was Anderson in the 25th minute who gave Palace the win. United were pushing for that equaliser, but in the end it didn't quite come. Palace held on for a really, really good win. And I think Roy Hodgson, great start to the season, and I think this result kind of just underlines that. They'll be feeling very optimistic, but for Erik ten Hag, so many questions still to be answered. They're really struggling at the moment, I have to say it's really not looking good for them, unfortunately. Moving on into Everton 1, Luton 2 at Goodison Park, and it was Tom Lookyer and Carlton Morris who made it 2-0 in the first 30 minutes. Calvert-Lewin got one back in half time, but Luton, despite heavy Everton pressure in the second half, managed to hold on. And what a great result for Luton that is. Crucial result for them as well. Luton, it's exactly what they need. It moves them out of the relegation zone, which is massive for them. But for Everton, you can just kind of see that things probably will get toxic from this point. Takeover coming, I'm not sure about that, to be honest. Not sure about the prospective news buyers. But it's just really not a good situation for them. But moving on into Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 4 at the Vitality. Saka, Odegaard, Havertz with a penalty, and Ben White. Dominant performance from Arsenal, kind of rebounding from the draw in North London derby, where they definitely would have been targeting a win, with a dominant performance here, and kind of laying down a marker. But for Bournemouth, this was such a disappointing showing, you have to say. Really would have affected more, even a tough game like Arsenal. And they just look like they're struggling at the moment. But moving on then to potentially the most controversial game of the season so far, Tottenham 2, Liverpool 1. And Curtis Jones sent off in the 26th minute, for me the right decision, but then the offside goal for Luis Diaz, how on earth has been disallowed? I have no idea. Son put Tottenham ahead 2 minutes after that, Jota, red card, second yellow, that left Joel Matip with Rory Nango in 96 minutes, still the win for Tottenham. Liverpool fought so valiantly against 12 players, but no, it wasn't to be. Tottenham, a great win for them, but for Liverpool, you'd be absolutely fuming. Moving on then to Forest 1, Brentford 1 at the City grounds, and Forest suffered a red card in the 56th minute, and Brentford took the lead 2 minutes after that. But in the 65th minute, it was Dominguez who equalised for the 10 men, and despite Brentford pressure, they couldn't get the winner. So I think Forest, in this scenario, they'll definitely have taken a point. Brentford, after a tough start to the season, I feel like they have to be winning games like that. So I think, they will be very disappointed to only come away with 1 point out of that. So definitely frustrating for them. But moving on into Fulham 0, Chelsea 2 at Craven Cottage, and it was Mudryk in the 18th minute and Brojo a minute after that, sealing the win for Chelsea. In the end, there wasn't much when you look at the stats separating them, but a few clinical moments for Chelsea, done the job, and you feel like that could be a really massive win for Mopo and team. Fulham, they'll be disappointed. I think poor few minutes. Otherwise, they could have got at least a draw from this one. So yeah, they will be disappointed. But for Chelsea, hopefully it's the start of the turning point for them, and yeah, they can kind of get back to the form that we've seen from them before. But moving on into a preview of the upcoming Champions League games, and yeah, Lens taking on Arsenal. I think this is a game that Arsenal will be feeling pretty confident going into. A game which I think there's no reason why they shouldn't go and win this game. Yeah, I think when you look at their score compared to Lens, the English league compared to the French league in general, I think, yeah, it's a game which they will go and win. Maybe they can rest a few players, who knows, but yeah, they can't take the opposition lightly, I don't think, but I think they will have enough to get past. I'm going to say it'd be 2-0. Moving on into Manchester United as they take on Galatasaray at Old Trafford, and yeah, Manchester United, kind of a similar story for them, but at the same time, we know their vein of form they're in compared to the vein of form Arsenal are in, so yeah, it's a big game for them, and they really need to hit the ground running, because obviously that loss against Bayern Munich, with the return of the Champions League, get a result here, otherwise things could turn pretty dodgy for them pretty quickly, you have to say. So yeah, I think United definitely will be targeting a win here, and I think they'll have enough to get it. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on into RB Leipzig as they take on Man City, and I would say a tough game for Man City here. Leipzig, they've got good players, the likes of Werner, etc, etc. And they're a well-run club, etc. But I think Man City, going to Germany, it will be a tough game for them, but I think, yeah, it's sort of a game for them. They could probably afford to take a point and go with it. But yeah, I think no way you can underestimate them. They're not the likes of Bayern or Dortmund, but I think they still are a very good team from the German league. So I'm going to say it will be a 2-1 win for City. I think they'll just have enough quality to wedge it. Moving on into Newcastle as they take on PSG. And yeah, this is a Champions League game that I'm really looking forward to. Champions League football returning to St James's Park for the first time in nearly 20 years. And yeah, what an occasion it's going to be. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric for this one. I think we all can kind of see that coming. So yeah, really, really looking forward to this one. I think PSG, quality they've got, etc, etc. Will they be able to combat the atmosphere of Newcastle? It's going to be a tough one to say. I think Paris will just have enough quality to edge it, but it's a game that I'm looking forward to nonetheless. And finally, moving on into the sole Premier League game, Luton against Burnley. Obviously, was postponed because Luton's ground wasn't ready in time. But yeah, I think it's a big game for both these teams. Probably potentially less for Luton now, but they also want to back up the Everton win with a victory. But for Burnley, yeah, few tough games, but still they need to be picking up more points than they are currently. And I think they probably won't have a better opportunity to do so than in this game, so they'll be really targeting a win, but I don't think there is much to separate the two sides. I'm going to say it will be a 1-1 draw here. But anyway guys, that's it for here. Thanks very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and daily football news and scroll to the channel. It's going to be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.